So question 15 deals with coordinate geometry, and this question says point A and B have the coordinates. So the coordinates of point A is h comma h. All right. So just to know, that is the x and that is the y value. All right. And the coordinates of B is 4h plus 6 and 5h respectively. So this would be your x and that would be your y. Okay, then you have an equation of a perpendicular bisector, right? So I'm just going to write this equation in the form y equals to, maybe I put the 3 in front, okay, because it's gradient intercept form. Then it's plus k over 2, just in that form. Okay, so this is the equation of the perpendicular bisector of AB. Good. Now let's find, because they ask us to find the value or values of h and k, okay, from that equation there. So let us first calculate the gradient of AB. The gradient of AB, remember, is delta y over delta h. No? So I'm taking the 5h minus h over 4h plus 6 minus h. Well, this gives us 4h over 3h plus 6. Right, so that's the gradient. Now, the gradient of the perpendicular bisector, the line that will cut it in half, it's going to be opposite that, and you just swap these around. Okay, all right, so this is the perpendicular bisector. Okay, now why is that information important? Because of this gradient and this whole gradient I have here would be equal to each other. That means I have got minus 3h plus 6 over 4h is equal to minus 3 over 2. Well, you can go ahead and drop the minus, all right? So I'm just going to drop the minus. So I'm going to have 2, and then I have 3h plus 6 equals to 3 times 4h, okay? Now, you clean this up, it gives you 6h plus 12, and it equals to 12h. Right, so the idea here is to find the value of h, right? And, well, you can find the value of h by saying 12 equals to 12h minus 6h, all right? And if you do that, you're going to get 6h. So this is giving you 6h equals to 12, therefore h will equal to 2. So now I have the value of h. But here is now the important thing, okay? So my points originally, point A was h comma h, no? Which now means point A is 2 comma 2. And point B was given originally, if you go back, you'll see it was 4h plus 6 comma 5h, which now makes point B to be 4 times 2 is 8, 8 plus 6, right? That's 14. So that's going to be 14, and 5 times 2, 10. All right, so these are my 2 points now in terms of, I had them in terms of h, now I know what they are. Now, what is important here is that you are supposed to find the constant k. Now, there is point B that is important to me, because if I have to go back here, you see that the perpendicular bisector, so you have points A and points B, all right? And then you have the equation of the perpendicular bisector, right? So if naturally point A and B, if you consider that as 2 points, right? And I'm just going to, perhaps I must use GeoGebra to explain this concept so that you can just see why is it that I'm doing that. Okay, let's just wait for that little program to start. I'm going to take those 2 points and I'm putting them up there. Okay. So let's say point A then was the point. Remember, point A was the point 2, 2, and then point B was the point. If you quickly go back, point B is 14, 10. So it's 14. So let's just get that down there so we can have that point. All right. So that one is 14. It is the point 14, 10. So 14, 10 all the way up there. All right. So if I was now to draw the line segment AB, right? So what we are saying now, there is a line that cuts this line in half, right? It cuts this line in half, and not only does it cut it in half, it does so at 90 degrees. And in order for us to find what is the line that cut this in half, right? So we'll find the midpoint of this line. Are we together? Right. And in order for us to find the midpoint of this line, which you can see already here, it's 8,6. You will just take the 2 values of whatever your A value is, whatever your B value is, right? And you are going to find the mean. All right. So I'm going to go back and write here. So I'm going to say the A point, which is 2,2. So take the 2x values together. So we take the 2x values together, and you say 2 plus 14. We divide that by 2. Take the 2y values together, and you say 2 plus 10, and you divide that by 2. Okay, so the x value and the y value. So that is 2 plus 14 is 18. Half of 18 is 9. Okay, 2 plus 14 is 16. Sorry, half of 16 is 8. 2 plus 10 is 12. Half of 12 is 6. All right, so this is the midpoint. Okay, that's the midpoint. So if I go back there, you will see that the midpoint is here. So if I was to say draw the perpendicular line, perpendicular bisector of this line, you will realize that that point there, the point 8,6, that point 8,6 is a midpoint, and also it is on that line. Now, it's important, we are looking for the equation of this line. So the equation of this line, we can find that by simply going back, because the question wants us to find the value of k. The value of k is important. So what do? We take the midpoint and we substitute it into this equation. Okay, so y equals to minus 3. So I'm going to write it here. It's y equals to minus 3 over 2x plus k over 2. So y, so I'm going to take x, y, so I'm going to say 6 equals to minus 3 over 2. The value of x is 8 plus k over 2. All right, so this here, 2 goes into 8. 4 times 3 is minus 12. So that is 6 plus 12 equals to k plus k upon 2. Yep. So that is 6 plus 12, that is 18. 18 equals to k over 2, right? Therefore, k equals to 2 times 18, and eventually k equals to 36. Okay, right. And you can also say h equals to 2 because you are asked to find h as well as k. Right. So the step-by-step process of how you do this one, right? You have to swap the gradient around because perpendicular gradients, if you multiply a gradient of one line and say the gradient of line AB times the gradient of, let's say, line CD must give you -1. So whatever the gradient of AB is, the gradient of the other one should be opposite, and one of them should have an opposite sign in order to give you that concept. Okay, so just revisit that concept as well. Then we are coming to the very last question, and this is also on coordinate geometry. Says 2 points A and B have the coordinates -1, -1, and 3, 4 respectively. The line BC is perpendicular to AB, and this line intersects the x-axis. So if you have the x-axis and a line intersect the x-axis at that particular point, we might not know the value of x, but we know that y will be 0. Okay, because on the x-axis y is 0. Very important that we understand that. So what is the gradient of AB? Then I have to find the gradient of AB. I say 4 minus 1 over 3 minus -1. Okay, so that gives you 3/4. So the gradient then of BC, okay, would be -4/3. Same concept I discussed before. So what is the equation of BC? Right, so it is y equals to -4/3x plus c. How do we find this x? You see, you have got point A, B, and BC. What do they have in common? They have got this point B in common. All right. So taking point B, which is 3, 4, and we sub it in there, that is 4 equals to -4/3 and 3. That will give you the value of C. Okay. All right. Hope you understand that. So C will equal to 8 once you calculating that out. So the equation of BC is y equals to -4/3x plus 8. So this is the equation of line BC. Now they are asking for they are saying this line here, this one cuts the x-axis, right? So y is 0. So in order for us to find what the x value would be, we know that the y, in order to find that, we will say 0 for y equals to -4/3x plus 8. Now we are going to solve that equation, okay? And you solve this, is -8 equals to -4/3x. 3 times that is -24 equals to -4x. Now you can see that x will be equal to 6. So eventually, this point here is the point 6, 0. So the question is asking what is the x coordinate of C. So you can also go ahead and say the x coordinate of point C is 6. So 2 parts to that question, and you have to answer them both. Right, there's a B part of the question. They find the distance AC, giving your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So point A, if you have to go back, point A is a point -1, 1. Okay, point A is a point -1, 1. And point C, we have determined C is the point 6, 0. All right, so this entails you must use the distance formula because we are looking for the distance between A and C, right? So that simply would be taking the 2, say 6 minus -1 all squared plus 0 minus 1 all squared. Okay, this is going to give you the square root of 50, which is the same as 25 times 2 square root there, which is 5/2. Okay, or you can say 7 because it says 3 decimal places. All right, and then you grab your calculator in order for you to find out what is the square root of 50. It is 7.07. 7.0723 dp. That would be whatever units, meters or whatever, centimeters or whatever. Okay, all right. So very important that you show all your working, and you also make sure that when you have the question paper in the exam, you have a list, additional pages there where you can do if complete the answers for questions you didn't really finish. All right, or you messed up somewhere, and then you can come here and you can do that. That's normally how your question paper will be. And also what you'll find in your question paper, you'll find formula and notation list that is going to be there. Pure mathematics, it's always included in there. So always refer back to them, especially if you were to forget. It's very awkward how people forget a lot of these things. All right, here you have T sub n, all right, equals to A plus n minus 1D. So T sub n, U sub n, doesn't matter which one you're using. So there's quite a lot, all right, of formula here that we have used. All right, we have used sum to infinity, we have used that, we have used this formula. This is something you should know. All right, we have used the binomial theorem, okay, and C1 and C2 and C3, and you can't go wrong, because this is the general term you can find from here, and that might help you to answer questions on the binomial theorem, even for you to find factorial of something. Okay, so if I say C6 choose 2, right, and then it's 6 factorial over 2 factorial and 4 factorial, 4 coming from 6 minus 2, that gives you 6. Remember, factorial, you just multiply downwards. So 6 times 5 times 4, I'm going to stop there, over 2 times 1 times 4 factorial. The reason why I stopped there, because I can cancel this, and I can cancel that. And 2 goes itself here once, and 2 goes there 3 times, and 3 times 5. So this answer is 15. All right, so 6 choose 2, or 6 2, written like that. 6 choose 2, when you use a calculator, okay, in the calculator, you are going to say 6, and then you say shift, and then you come here where it says NCR, and then you say 2, and you hit enter. You see you get to the same result. Okay, so those things are there to your benefit, and we have used them in this paper. Okay, so there's quite a whole host of formula that is given to you here, and you have the chain rule here when you get to trigonometry and stuff like that, and also once you do differentiation and integration. So there's quite a lot of operations and formula that is to your advantage, that you should be able to use and go through as you are getting to solve the questions in the examination.